Good night, viewers. You're on to IKEMBA's Youth for Reparations television program right here on NCN Channel 11 every second Thursday of every month. Now, of course, we have, if persons who are now viewing, IKEMBA's youth organization that actually champions the cause of reparations. Reparations, speaking to enslavement period, is speaking about, getting back what is owed to us, not only monetary, which is money, but also our land, psychological rehabilitation, the list goes on. But let's get straight into the topic today. The topic today for our reparations program is the Black African experience, actually, in business. And alongside me, I have a co-host, and of course, my name is Kibwe Copeland. I'll be your host. And with me is Sule Collymore, who will be the co-host of tonight's television program. Let's get straight into the whole idea of black businesses. We've seen many myths over the years about black people not being able to do business, not being the business material, coming out of the enslavement period, being property at one point in time within our life, a sad history which we, at times we try to move away from, something that we must look back at many times to understand where we came from, not from there, but exactly that particular struggle. People look at us and told what to do. We are going to try in this particular program tonight to try to dispel these myths about black people, about African people, not being able to do business, not be able to be entrepreneurs successfully. So let's get straight into a video which will start the tone of this television program and straight into it.
Hey guys, for Complex Hustle, I'm Asia Celestino. You may not recognize his name right away, but Robert Smith, a self-described quiet engineer, is impacting the next generation of African Americans. He's a former Goldman Sachs exec, the founder of investment firm Vista Equity Partners, and, oh yeah, the second richest black billionaire in the US. The first is Oprah, in case you forgot. But Smith credits his career achievements to a solid education even before college. As a junior at East High School, a public school in Denver, Colorado, he became interested in computer science. His favorite subject led to an obsession with a college internship at Bell Labs. Smith says after 6 months of relentlessly calling the company to intern, he was offered an interview, the internship, and eventually a job. He told 9 News that he wants to be a role model for young black men, inspiring them to pursue careers in science, tech, engineering, and math. It's important that these young African American men understand there are people like Robert Smith out there who can actually be learned in the sciences, engineering, finance, and create a platform that can impact not tens, not hundreds, but millions of people just like them. And with his success, the billionaire has made sure to practice each one, teach one. Smith is the founding director of the Fund 2 Foundation, dedicated to preserving the African American experience, involved with his alma maters, and a trustee of the Boys and Girls Clubs of San Francisco. He says that his philanthropic work is dedicated to creating opportunities for African Americans and women in STEM. For more business news and stories like this, make sure you subscribe. For Complex Hustle, I'm Asia Celestino.
So dispelling the facts, dispelling the myths. Robert Smith, a billionaire, and that is just one of many. So, of course, those myths about African people not being able to be entrepreneurs, being successful entrepreneurs, we can throw directly out of the window. But to get straight into this topic, we want to introduce to our viewers tonight 2 beautiful and, of course, strong entrepreneurs here in Guyana. And allow my co-host, Sule Collymore, of course, to introduce these 2 wonderful young ladies.
Thank you very much, Kibwe. Again, my name is Sule Collymore, and welcome again to our IKEMBA Youth for Reparation television program. Tonight, we have 2 lovely young ladies here with us who are entrepreneurs in the business. They have some skin in the game. They've been doing it for quite some time. With us, we have Miss Keisha Edwards, who's owner and creative director of Shasha Designs. Forgive me if I didn't pronounce that correctly.
You got it right.
All right, wonderful, wonderful. And we also have Miss Renee Chester, who is a makeup artist and has been in this game for about 10 years. But enough from me. Let's go right into this. Let's hear what these ladies have to say. So, Miss Chester, can you tell us a bit about yourself and your business?
Okay, thank you guys for having me.
Pleasure.
Hello, Keisha. And hello, Guyana. My name is Renee Chester. I'm the founder of Bromeliad.RNC. The RNC are the initials of my name. I have been in the makeup industry, makeup and cosmetic industry for about 12 going into 13 years. Um, I love what I do. I am very passionate about my job. I put everything into it. Part of my enthusiasm comes from knowing that as a young female entrepreneur, I have a role to play. I have to become the best me, first and foremost, in order to inspire. So I put everything into my job. I put everything into preserving a positive lifestyle and with hopes that my peers can follow and take suit.
All right, thank you very much, Miss Chester. You heard it here, guys. The best me I can be, so she can put it forward for herself. All right, Keisha, go over to you.
Well, my name is Keisha Edwards, and I'm the owner and creative director of the fashion brand Shasha Designs. And Shasha Designs is a brand that not only creates ready-to-wear garment, but we specialize in making wedding gowns and also unconventional wedding gowns. We've been in the business. I've been in this fashion industry for, wow, like about 13
Just
years,
around
just around the
same
same
time.
time.
Same
Yes.
Awesome.
I think my debut was in 2008 when I did Guyana Fashion Week. And, you know, I've just been diligent. I believe that, you know, practice doesn't make perfect, but practice makes improvement. And I've spent a lot of time improving the quality of my work, ensuring that I'm knowledgeable about everything that I bring to the public. I think it's important that when you go to someone who is providing a service, that you get the best service possible. And as an entrepreneur, I too am a consumer. So for me, I tend to think a lot about what am I giving? How are you feeling? What is your experience when you come into contact with me? I think those things are very big for me in this business.
And just looking at them, I could see their business can speak for itself.
Yeah.
Right. So of course, again, it's a pleasure to have two young, of course, role models to women, and of course, any person who's going into business. Right. I'm sure Sully has another question for you guys. Just to relate.
I do actually, but I like what you said. Practice makes perfect. Practice doesn't make perfect.
Perfect.
Practice makes
Makes
improvement.
improvement.
Indeed,
A lot of
indeed.
the things we gotta know when going
Yeah.
into business is to just start and keep at it, keep going,
That
keep
is true.
going.
That is
'cause
true.
A lot of things can be thrown at you guys, and
It can.
you don't even know.
And you know, talent is just 10%. A lot of people don't know that, but
You
it
have to
really is
work,
just
you have to
10%.
work.
You
Hard
have
work,
to
yes.
put in a lot of work.
That is true.
Yeah.
So I kind of grew up in a traditional home. Mom, daddy, like go to school, get an education, go get your degree, and then you could get a nice job. So you can buy a fancy house, get a nice wife, and these
Yeah.
types of things. Traditional.
Mhm.
But these young ladies have taken a completely different path. They've ventured into entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
which is a big field. So I want you to tell me a bit about what inspired you to enter the business and why this specific business.
Okay. So prior to becoming a certified professional makeup artist, I was always within the art industry. I was a member of the National School of Dance, then I was a dancer with Classic Dance Company, and I was always in the spotlight. Becoming a makeup artist wasn't a sought after career choice. It kind of just found me, right? That's a story I've told many times before. So just to let you know that after coming encounter with one of my mentors, Miss Anita Holder, she is from Barbados. She took me under her wings and she invited me to do one of her beginner classes. I'm going to tell you, from the get-go, I wasn't really interested. I was just in a foreign country, needed something to do, occupy my time, right? But at the end of that class, I came out as her most successful student, and she would have allowed me to tag along with her when she had gigs. And I think she did makeup for the news at that time. I don't know what channel or whatever, but I would always be backstage, and the fascination started to grow. At that time too, this is roughly in the year 2008, the market in Guyana was wide open to bring makeup artistry at a different level, at an advanced level, because at that time Anita was already a Hollywood trained makeup artist. So she introduced me to things that I didn't even know was possible, like makeup artists. Well, what was the like job title, makeup artist? Like, what am I supposed to do really? And she took me under her wing. She gave me DVDs, books. She mentored me, and she did a very good job. So when I came back to Guyana, like I said, the market was wide open, and I ran with it. I remember she said the market was open for a wholesale and retail agent for the Black Opal Cosmetics. So it is now 12 into 13 years that I'm the authorized distributor for that brand. And I actually started out, thank you, as just a sales representative for that brand. The very first day I came back to Guyana with all these little cosmetics in the suitcase, and BBM was it back then.
Yeah.
So I
BBM
sent
days.
out my BBM, hey girls, come
Yes.
check out your stuff. My sister had to leave work early. I was like, Rush, come get me, like I need help here. And I did a bunch of stuff wrong, I admit. I underpriced the items and so many things, and I guess that's why so many people showed up at my home,
That is
because
true.
like, well, $1,500 for foundation. But I was so excited. And that day, that sparked something inside of me. And my sister, we were looking at each other and we were like, this could be something. But we can't just do it the way we just did. We need a plan. And we need to go after this the right way. So then research came in. I started speaking to other family members who are in the business field, business sector. So I was getting advice. A few friends as well were advising me on what is the best way forward. Then I started to realize that I want to do the makeup application. So I went back for further courses from Anita. And then I went to Trinidad. I met my second mentor, Miss Arlene Villarreal, and she is who brought me, picked up where Anita left off and brought me up to speed with my techniques. I've done a lot of research for myself as well. So to answer the question directly, I didn't really go after. Everything just kept happening in
Came after you.
stages, and I kept
Came after you.
advancing, and I kept falling in love with it much more. But being a professional makeup artist, and I'm going to say professional makeup artist, it comes with more than what I can do with my hands. It comes with my personal growth, my mental stability, my coping skills, how I can work with others, my discipline, my time management. All of these things have to come into play to make me a professional, right? So when I said earlier that I take my job seriously, is because I know that there's so much boxes to tick, right? And while I'm not going to journey through my career just by ticking boxes, always following the rules or whatever, because I learn every day. I learn every day, and there are certain rules that you bend in makeup too, so it could suit you and whatnot. But it's hard work, but it's also fun work when you do it with passion.
Impressive,
And
impressive. Miss Edwards,
Yes.
what's your inspiration?
Oh, wow.
Why fashion?
Why fashion? You know, when you said that makeup artistry chose you, you know, I tend to say that too, that fashion chose me because actually knowing me growing up as a child, I wanted to be a lawyer. I was a defender, the debate at school, you know, that's what I wanted to do. Fashion was something that I was good at. Sketching, I was always having my mom make my dresses for me because my mom sewed. And later on, you know, I found out my grandmother sewed, my grandfather was a tailor, my great-great-grandmother made wedding gowns. I found out all those things when I was already
Hey, in the
designing,
business.
but I didn't think it was something that I could make a career out of, and I wasn't even looking at it. I just knew that I had a different style, and I would make the things that I liked, because you know you would work so hard. Like I would clean, because I would clean out the chicken pen. Yes, I would, so that I would make additional money so I could buy, you know, certain outfits. And then you go out and you saw so many different people wearing the same clothes. And I'm like, this isn't making sense. So I graduated from school, high school. I went to university. I did my diploma in social work and my degree in sociology. But when I graduated, I couldn't find a job. And I was like, what am I going to do? You know, I applied everywhere. It was either I didn't have working experience or I was too qualified because I already had a degree. So it was tough. And I was like, you know what? I think I need to make this thing that's, you know, just a passion, something I do, a business. And the thing is, I didn't even realize that I was making it a business, because while I was at university, one of my friends, she would get gigs for me when they had promotions, whether it was Banks or Carib or Digicel. I would make clothes for the promotional girls, but I still didn't see it as something that I could make a business out of until I graduated. And I was like, well, what am I going to do? And my sister encouraged me. She was saying, you know what, I think you should do Guyana Fashion Week. You know, you're really good at this, and I think you should do it. And it's only then, when I did Guyana Fashion Week, seeing my clothes on display and the response from the audience, that's when I was like, okay, I can definitely do this. And I mean, you know, looking back in hindsight, a lot of the things that I did when I started, I mean, you know, talking to someone, I would say definitely have a business plan before you just, you know, rush into things. Yes. Have a business plan and have a mentor. I didn't necessarily have a mentor, but I paid attention like a sponge. Every conversation I had with anyone that I thought was successful in business, I paid attention to what they had to say. I also did my own research. And I also practice, because I was self-taught. I learned from watching my mom sew. And, you know, my sister was like, matter of fact, I had an interesting conversation with my father, actually. He asked me, what did I know about fabrics? And I said, well, they got cotton, they got satin, 60 inches width, 45 inches width. So he's like, because my dad is a civil engineer. So he's like, no, man, there must be more. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he was like, there must be a science to things. There's a science to things. And when he asked me that, he interrogated, he awoke something that had me interrogate myself. And I just couldn't sleep well after then, because I was like, this is a field that I'm passionate about. This is what I'm doing with my life, and really and truly, I don't know anything about the field. So then I said, you know what? I need to educate myself. I've always liked school. So I was like, okay, I need to dig deep, I need to do more. Mind you, I was already traveling to do fashion shows abroad, doing well, but the knowledge wasn't there. So I did a course at Parsons in Manhattan on fabric selection and design style, and learning how to choose a particular type of fabric for a particular type of clothing, which was extremely helpful, because around the time I did that, I returned to Guyana, and I had brides coming to have me alter their dresses, and sometimes they would spend a lot to have their dresses altered, and I was like, why are you buying it? You're flying to the States to buy this dress to come back and have me fix it. And I was like, okay, maybe I should be making these dresses for people. And then I started, I did my first bridal wear collection. And because of my knowledge on being able to select the right fabrics, it was extremely helpful. But I still wanted to learn more. And I actually went to Carnegie, and I would advise a lot of people to go to Carnegie, because people think, you know, Carnegie doesn't necessarily have a lot to offer, blah, blah, blah. That's not so.
Get a foundation.
Any area, anywhere you can go to learn a little bit, a little more knowledge.
Is worth it.
Yes, definitely go after it. Yes. So I went to Carnegie, and I went to Baruch School of Arts, and I think afterwards I was at Carnival in Trinidad, and somebody gave me a brochure to the Caribbean Academy of Fashion and Design, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to school. And I spent 4 years in Trinidad perfecting my craft and learning about the industry in the Caribbean, just learning about the fashion industry on a whole, and even learning about fabrics. And I felt so good to come back home to my dad. And I was like, yo, I can tell you nothing fabrics now.
Fabric.
Yeah, because I was like, did you know there's natural fabric and man-made fabric, and natural fabric comes from plants and animals? And then he was like, yeah, and I'm like, yeah. So cotton is a natural, it's cellulosic, and then you have, that comes from trees. And I was just telling him these different things, and I'm like, do you know how you could tell something is 100% cotton? And he was like, how? And I was like, you burn it, and it smells like paper. That's how you know something is cellulosic, that it's plant-based.
Well, I'm learning something to say.
The fabric smells like paper. So, I mean, I've been enjoying just educating myself on my field, because I now could provide a better quality of service to my customers. And, you know, just being in this space and this time where back in the day, you know, a lot of persons would not necessarily look at this field and say, okay, this is something I'm going to do, because this is not the traditional job. This is unconventional. But now you have so many persons now thinking, yes, I can do this, follow this career path, and I could be successful at it. And I think jobs like these are super important, because it's a creative, it's like the heartbeat of a country,
Correct.
you know? So I'm just enjoying the process of learning so much. I'm enjoying the process of educating the people around me, educating my assistants, even my customers as they, you know, come in, and just offering them a different experience. And just, for me, just focusing on bettering myself has opened so much doors to me, because I was recently I recently showcased actually at the Buckingham Palace. And when I say recently, I mean like in 2018 or whatever. But but you know, that's not something that I, you know, thought that I would have done. I would have done. But the thing is, when you focus on your work and the objective is to get better and to be better, and like Renee was saying, be better within yourself as well. So many different things happen, and I think that is extremely important. Offering an experience, being on time, being reliable, being professional. And being professional isn't just, oh, well, I have a degree in fashion design. It is about being on time, being committed, always meeting my deadlines, never giving customers something below value. All those things are important.
And I like these points. And what was remarkable about both of you individuals is that more than just going into it, it came to you.
Yeah.
You know, like when something is for you, it follows you, it comes after you.
And that's what I think makes the experience
Makes
a little more.
experience.
Yes.
So, you know,
Yeah.
you both are black and beautiful,
Thank you.
young,
Gifted.
brave, and added to that, entrepreneurs.
Yes.
How does that feel? Is there is there a feeling that comes with those attributes?
There's definitely a feeling from me. I had an amazing day at work today. From many different aspects. And I know that when I leave here and I go home in my quiet space and I'm falling to sleep, I can smile and be like, today was good. I would say things like, Ren, we did well today.
Did well.
But why I want to mention in particular that I had a good day today is because it didn't start so great. But I was driving and I was like, no, I want a good day. And I was expecting, I had 3 clients on the books today. And God just blessed me with customers with the right attitude to match that vibe that I
you
wanted
wanted.
today.
I like
And
that.
I think that happened because when I was feeling a little overwhelmed this morning, I was on the phone, I was talking loud, no, 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 no. While driving to work, I switched that off. And
You made a decision to
I
switch.
made a decision
You put it
to
out into the atmosphere.
channel
it's
this
changing.
day
Mhm.
in the way that
You
I
want it
want to
go.
feel accomplished. So I feel good right now, and I'm going to feel good later, and I'm going to have a blast of a weekend, and the rest of the year is going to be awesome for me, for us
Wonderful,
all,
wonderful.
right? So it's all about the energy, right? But it's such a good feeling to know that all my clients were satisfied today. I am proud of myself. I've hit my goals of selling an experience, giving my customers a service is more than sitting in the chair, applying the makeup, bye, see you later, collect the money, and so on. It's like Keisha said, we have to sell an experience. That nothing undervalue,
That is true.
right? It doesn't matter the cost of something sometimes. It's like the value you get from it,
Yeah.
That is true.
right? Something may not be too cheap or may not be too expensive, but
The value that comes with
the
it.
value
Yeah.
that comes with it, right?
Whether
So
it's
a good feeling.
5,000 or 20,000 is the experience.
It's the
Every
experience.
customer has the same experience. I mean, today for me, I was really nervous because I actually launched a new collection tomorrow.
Congratulations.
Thank you, and it's called More.
These girls are just winning, you know. I feel so
Are we
impressed.
too much?
No.
Definitely.
That's what we want.
Yeah,
We
well,
want you
my
guys to keep winning.
collection, my collection Morph is actually the first collection that I'm doing after fashion school, and it's inspired by metamorphosis, which is the life cycle of an insect. You know, they go through like a transformative and transitional
Okay.
phase, and I felt like I was going through that because you had COVID, and I couldn't come home. So I was away from home for a while, which I did enjoy because I was working and going to school full time, and I was working in Trinidad, working in Guyana, sending stuff to customers, and I didn't realize how burnt out I was. And sometimes it's important to check in with yourself and take a moment. So when COVID happened and everybody was like, oh my God, no, I was like, thank you, God, because I needed that break. And sometimes it's hard taking a break when the rest of the world can't take a break with you.
That is true. That's a good example.
Yes, so, and that COVID did that.
And that's a question. That's a question I want to hit you. COVID is real.
Yeah.
How did that affect business? How did that affect what you do, what you love?
How did it change your game?
Well, like I said, it was, I was happy. Not that there was a global pandemic and, people were dying,
It didn't
but
stop you.
I needed to take a break. And it allowed for me to just relax and get in tune with myself and have me ask myself what it is that I want to do with my business, etc. And I mean, it was a little challenging, like I said before, because I was thinking I'm coming back home to Guyana. I haven't really designed in Guyana really like that. I've been away for 4 years. How would I be received? Also, I don't know what people's response would be. What are people looking for?
Atmosphere.
What is their needs? What are
Correct.
their needs? Because in this industry, a lot of things are need-based. You need to give customers what it is that they
They
need.
need, not what you want to
So
give
I
them.
was thinking about all of that, and when I returned home, I posted that I was home, and I was surprised right away. Everybody was like, "You back? You here?" Yes, I was
Yeah, that was
waiting, and it felt so good. And even though, and it was a surprise to me because even though COVID was happening, it did not deplete people coming to have something made. And one of the things I love about doing sociology, sometimes people say, oh, you're a fashion designer, how does that make sense, blah, blah, blah. But, sociology, you study human behavior in their environment. And buying clothes, wearing clothing makes people happy.
Feel better.
You have a pandemic, you can't go nowhere.
But any clothes,
You
take
want-
a picture at home.
Just
You
the
want
fancy.
something that will make
Make you
you
feel
happy. So, I think I'm really blessed, and I thank God that during this pandemic that my business didn't necessarily suffer. I know other people who had to let go of their staff and, you know, who weren't necessarily getting work, but that wasn't the situation.
And
for me.
more than just it not stopping, you actually help people to feel happy
Yeah,
within
I
a
do.
distressed
And
time in their
the
lives.
thing is too, it's important to create an experience, and when you interact with your customer, for me it's not, oh, you know, you come get your thing, you leave. It's, hey, how are you? How are you doing? You know, I interact with my customers, so a lot of people, they like coming to me because, you know, it's a vibe. It's a good vibe.
It's a good vibe. It's a good
Yeah,
vibe.
it's a good vibe.
What about you,
Yeah.
Renee?
Very similar to Keisha. I think I was freaking out at first. First, obviously, health and safety reasons. I'm
Yes.
confused what is going on, what's happening to the earth. But then I started to freak out over like, I literally have to touch people. I can't do this
Contact
without,
sport.
and I cannot do makeup 6 feet away from the client. So I
happen.
had my mornings where I had my personal battles. But when it was a few months later, COVID was actually starting to, I'm choosing my words strategically here. COVID, the situation of COVID, it didn't affect my business, but I saw an influx in
A blessing within a
certain
curse.
things.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
So I already had a good sanitation system in place
Yes.
because of my job. I always have to sanitize. I don't touch if it's not necessary and stuff like that. So what ended up happening a few months after lockdown, some of the people who were on lockdown now had the time to do the classes. Right? So because every time I advertise a class, so this phone would ring and ring and ring, but you know, you wouldn't necessarily see that amount of people signing up, right? So what happened is I didn't advertise any classes. You know, when I advertised a class since COVID, about 2 weeks ago, when I advertised my master class, I can't tell the last time I had to get a photo shoot and create a flyer or whatnot, right? But prior to that, people were coming to me. Oh, I know it's COVID and stuff, but I don't know, can we do it online or however? I just
You just
have
wanna
the
be-
time now. I have nothing to do. This is perfect time to improve my skills. And another thought process that I think a lot of women were having is that, oh boy, I could possibly get laid off or whatever. I like makeup. I think it's something I can do. Let me go try to learn more and get certified. So all of that was happening for me. So my business fortunately didn't crash. It propelled,
Propel.
and I am very grateful for that. I still take a lot of precautions, like for example, I know many of my clients aren't too happy with me right now with some of the decisions that I've put in place, some of the measures that I've put in place, like I'm not going to certain locations, and you know, if you're having a wedding and you have like 20 bridesmaids and you want me in a room with that, I would prefer, I'm not saying I'm not going to do it, but I would like to stay stationed at my studio and you come at intervals,
leave
because when I leave there with you, I still have other
clients
people
looking
to
To deal
deal
with.
with.
Yeah.
I
That is
have
true.
I have my family, I have to go home. You know, I have my mom, I have to be
Responsible. with this.
responsible
Yeah.
and careful, not just for myself.
What do the people
I love what I do. I want to take it to as far as it can go. So I'm not going to make a silly temporary decision that can affect Bromeliad on the long term. So I know you guys aren't too happy when you call and I said, oh, I can't, and I say I
But
can't or
understand.
whatever, but it's for a
Yeah.
reason.
And
Right?
COVID-19 did that for us, you know. We had to
Yes.
put on these precautions.
Yes.
Oh,
But
definitely.
just to give a little twist to this conversation, I want to get straight into a video that speaks to black people in business. We've spoken to two wonderful, striving entrepreneurs here, Renee Chester and Keisha Edwards. But let's get into this video that speaks directly to Black Wall Street, gives us a little synopsis of how it all started for Black people in business, and of course, after enslavement.
Black Wall Street. By now, you've probably already heard of it and have an idea of what Black Wall Street was in America at the turn of the 19th century. HBO even made a fictional superhero series about it. If you aren't aware, here's a quick history lesson. After slaves were freed in 1863, Black Americans quickly proved to be faster learners than their slave masters thought they would be, even after intentionally being deprived of formally educating themselves for the previous 200 years. By 1920, one place in particular was widely known as the Mecca for Black excellence. Think Atlanta, Georgia today. That place was Tulsa, Oklahoma. There were Black millionaires across the country like Mary Ellen Pleasant and Madam C.J. Walker. But Tulsa essentially became the birthplace of African American entrepreneurship.
Black Wall Street is in many ways a misnomer, because what the business community in the Greenwood District, the Black community in Tulsa, was more like, would be a Black Main Street. These were mostly small businesses, so there were movie theaters and dance halls and barber shops and grocery stores and restaurants and service providers like doctors and lawyers and pharmacists and dentists, hotels, all manner of businesses that you might find on an American Main Street, concentrated in a segregated Black enclave in Tulsa. Black Wall Street, the Greenwood District, was also a community of necessity. There wouldn't have been a need for a separate Black economic island in Tulsa had it not been for Jim Crow segregation. So they created their own economy, in part, across the Frisco tracks, separated from downtown by those tracks.
Eventually, things quickly changed. By this time, the KKK was also quickly gaining prominence, particularly in the South, and of course, were not happy. After 2 days, the Mecca of Black entrepreneurship became the center of destruction. But most, unfortunately, did not see it that way.
The community was rebuilt after that to a substantial degree, peaking in the 1940s, early to mid-1940s, with well over 200 documented Black-owned and operated businesses. But then there was a second devastation. This was not a devastation affected through violence, but rather through policy.
Black people lost their fortunes and even family members, and were never able to recover. Last summer, Forbes estimated that the Stratford Hotel alone, owned by O.W. Gurley, was worth about $75,000 at the time, which would be $2.5 million today. And that's just one building. Imagine how much money that was lost. This month, there will probably be plenty of media outlets re-educating us about the events that happened in Tulsa. But we gotta take things one step further, because the new Black Wall Street is here, and it's here to stay. Across the country, Black women have become the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs. In Tulsa today, the rebuilding has also begun. But the new Black Wall Street is no longer concentrated in one location. It's spread out across America. Forbes The Culture is taking a real look at businesses and entrepreneurs that make up this new era of Black Wall Street, and defining what it is and what it means to be a part of an unprecedented number of Black movers and shakers in nearly every city in America.
So if you were unaware, Black Wall Street did exist. And of course, more than just vicious and attacks by the KKK, of course, policies, laws, things that continues to suppress people of African descent across the world and keep us at this level of disparities. So I want Sule, of course, you could say something similar in Guyana. We've bought villages.
And that's actually true, and thank you very much for this giveaway. Is that when Africans were freed, after they'd worked off the labor, etc., they pooled their money. They practiced Ubuntu. They got their money together and they bought specific villages, Victoria, Plaisance, and these other villages.
Buxton.
And then they started planting to provide for themselves and also to go out into the market. But a lot of the times we found that their lands were flooded. Their food was displaced. And I'm looking at the Tulsavine and I'm like, we had a similar event.
Systematic oppression.
And then you have government policies that actually told them that they couldn't sell their produce in the open market, which was crazy. They had to sell it to a specific person. I think it was the Portuguese, according to Sister Penda, from one of our
Yes, one of our sisters goes from the reparations committee.
Exactly.
So a question I just want to pose, at any time in your careers, coming up as a strong African woman, these myths about being a black person and doing business, not being able to do business because you're from African descent, has it in any way visit you, whether by thought or even by any discrimination or some favoritism against you towards somebody else?
Oh.
Because you are black, and more than just being black, being a woman.
Personally, no. On the point of favoritism, maybe, yes, here and there, but I don't allow it to direct
Your energy.
my energy and my focus. I know what I want. I do. So I won't let something like favoritism or whatever
Can't stop your shine.
stop my shine, or more so deter
Sexism
my
or anything of the sort.
determination. I know of experiences of such that has caused others to back away from their passion and their dream, but that's not me. I'm fortunate enough to not be a victim of what of the question asked, and I think mentally I am prepared on how to deal with it if it arises.
If it arises.
So,
What about you, Miss Edwards?
My father raised 7 girls. 7 girls.
You have
So
a strong
growing,
past.
my father and my mother,
You're strong.
because my father and my mother. But why I said my father is because at such a young age, he always said to me, and my sisters, and even my brother, you have to remember that you're black and that you are female to the females. To my sisters, and he said, sometimes you have to be the loudest voice in the room and sometimes the quietest voice. And he was like, you're already tiny, so you can't let anybody make you a fool. So I've always asked questions. If something doesn't feel right, I say don't feel right. I've been in situations where persons would have felt that because I'm a woman that I wouldn't be able to do the job. Sometimes situations where people want to tell you how to do your job and they're not specialized in your field. But one of the things that I've learned is to always listen with the intention of hearing and understanding. I have a lot of patience. I don't need to have a battle of words with you. I'm here to do a particular job, and I'm here to learn. At the end of the day, interacting with you in a negative way is going to throw me off my path.
True.
That is not what I'm here to do. I'm not here to be distracted. So, and that's, I mean, sometimes there are things that, you might not always be able to be calm about, but you take a moment. If you gotta scream, you call up that one friend, and you're like, ah! You're like, oh my gosh, this is what, but you always keep it professional at the end of the day, because I am my brand. My brand is important to me. My brand is me. I am my brand. So for me, I'm aware that I am woman. I'm aware that you know, not everyone I interact with, they might like my energy or I might like theirs. But if we're there to achieve a common goal, then the common goal is of importance. So that's, yes, so that's how I approach everything.
What I got from both of the young ladies here is that, you know, it goes back to the black families. Preparing your children, preparing your daughters, preparing your sons for what's going to, what's going to be out there. Like, for example, what I got from Renee Chess is that, you know, she had her energy so high, is that certain things missed her. She like, I'm not prepared to deal with this. I'm prepared. And if it does come, if it do come, I'll be prepared to deal with it. That kind of energy alone, sometimes it may come in and it takes about turn, you know, right? So preparation is very important.
Definitely.
You know, and also, you wanted to ask, you know, get some tips.
I know you guys are, you know, brilliant, beautiful black entrepreneurs.
We're not gonna stop. Trust me, we're gonna clean it up.
So I was wondering, how do you guys manage your time? And if you have any tips for any listener listening right now, what advice would you give to them?
Give them like, two main tips that you would take.
Okay, well, first I'm going to talk about how I manage my time. I work by appointments. My appointment book is like my second Bible. So I manage my time by scheduling appointments, work-wise and personal. I do necessary things that would give me the energy to not oversleep and stuff like that. So I try to eat well, I try to go to bed on time,
Everything is scheduled.
and maintain a good lifestyle. So, and what's the other question, sorry?
2 tips you would give to young entrepreneurs listening right now.
In general, if you want to become an entrepreneur, business is not easy. I'm talking makeup artistry, fashion design, civil engineer. It's not easy. So you need to first and foremost know what you want, and you have to research that field, and you must come equipped with the dedication and the patience and, of course, time management and professionalism. You learn as you go along. There's a lot to learn as you go. So don't think it's going to be all perfect in the beginning, because I think I can get better. And I would have developed myself to a high standard by now, but I'm still hungry to get even better. So just know what you want, and you will get better as you go along, right?
What about you?
So how I manage my time, I set alarms. I set alarms for everything. If I need to set an alarm that says you need to put buttons on this shirt or you need to pick up this box, I will set that alarm, because I cannot during the course of the day have it on my mind that there are things that I need to do. So once I've set that alarm, I can let it go, and now I'm focused to do other things. And having appointments, like an appointment book, like Renee said, is super important to keep track of everything that it is you have to do. And I like to exploit all my time to the fullest, in the sense that if I'm working and sewing and there's a book to read, I don't always find the time because of how busy I am to read, and I love to read. There's Audible. I could play it. I could even listen to the Bible, and I love listening to the No, because sometimes some of the things is just it's a little entertaining. Some of the things, just how they thought back then to now. So, you know, I use all my time. There's no time wasted. And I guess in terms of advice for persons looking to become an entrepreneur, or even to become a fashion designer, I would say my first advice to you would be to listen. You can learn something from everyone. Life, the world, is your teacher, and don't close off certain people thinking that you can't learn anything from them. Like, you can learn from a bus conductor. You could learn from the man who sells china. You could learn something from the man in a suit who owns several businesses. You could learn something from everyone. So I would say be a sponge and listen, because everything that people says, it has value. Whether it's positive or negative, it is value. At least if you hear the negative, you don't have to go through that experience because you already hear about it. You know, some people sometimes just want to learn on your own, and that's fine.
Let them do.
Yeah, but be a sponge and listen and research your field thoroughly. I will agree with Renee, research your field. And I think I'll go further to add, get a mentor. Because when you get someone who has kind of gone through a lot of the things, there's a lot of steps that you can skip. And for me, I didn't have a mentor until much later. The fashion designer Mailing, she's my mentor, and I've learned so much from her. But before having a mentor in my field, the world was my teacher. And you have to listen with the intention of learning, understanding, and observing. You don't always have to say something. So I think if you go forward with that attitude, you will move farther along and faster.
I like that point you said, the world is your teacher. You know, besides being an African advocate, you know, I also advocate for youth self-realization and, you know, finding your path. And one of the things, if a person is saying, but I don't have a mentor at hand reach, just watching somebody, following a particular person on YouTube or video, that person is mentoring you just by taking your advice, you know?
Yeah.
For example, right about now, you guys are doing mentorship right about now. A person who want to know, I want to join, I want to do fashion, I want to do makeup artistry. How can I do it? Just watching this video, you are actually taking some level of mentorship. So I know it is a pleasure to have you ladies on it. You know,
Thank you.
my expectations was high, but you guys took it to the roof. No, far more than I expected it. I know I just want to thank you guys for being here, and I think this discussion has to continue at some other level, whereby we get, you know, to get more your master class. You know, you have to promote these things.
Before we,
Definitely.
you guys, please tell us how they can get in contact with you.
Yes,
Page and
yes,
all that.
please do so.
Here you go, since you're launching tomorrow.
Yes, I am launching my collection Morph tomorrow, and you could check out the collection on my website, which is shashadesigns.com. And you could also go on Facebook at Shasha Designs or Keisha Edwards to keep up to date with everything from the collection. You could also follow me on Instagram at Shasha Designs, and that's SHA Designs. And you could contact me on 676-7341 if you're interested in having a wedding gown made. If you're interested in having something unique, original, something fun, whether resort wear, formal wear, you know, something you go to church, you let me know. I'm your girl.
Fabric works.
And I do design for male as well. So I design for male and female as well. You know, just, you know, call and make an appointment.
And remember, she's a fabric expert.
Yes,
Don't
I am.
forget.
I am a fabric expert.
Yes,
Thank you, a
How about you,
textile
Renee?
expert.
Okay, so everybody knows that I target the beauty industry, beauty and cosmetic industry. So after you would have booked Keisha for your gown, right? You can come to Renee and book me for your makeup for your wedding. If you're considering entering the wonderful, wonderful world of makeup artistry, I can help you get there. I can guide you along. I can teach you the techniques. I can teach you the tools of the trade. I can get you started from basic beginner level, advanced level, or masterclass, the pro level. You just contact me, and my classes are continuous. I don't want to say specific dates. I have a flyer on my Instagram. You can search for me on Instagram at MUA_Renee Chester, or you can check out the products that Bromeliad Makeup Store carries at the official Bromeliad Makeup Store on Instagram as well. My studio telephone number is 231-1022.
Wonderful. So viewers, of course, you are watching IKEMBA's Youth for Reparation television program right here on NCN Channel 11 every second Thursday of every month. And we have, of course, the beautiful Keisha Edwards and the beautiful Renee Chester, who are strong, beautiful black entrepreneurs, which IKEMBA, of course, decided tonight to highlight, and of course highlight the whole fact that black people can do business. Of course, my name is Kebe Copeland. I'm the president of IKEMBA and also your host, and co-hosting with me is
Mr. Sule Collymore, Public Relations Officer. You can also get in contact with us on Facebook and Instagram. It's IKEMBA, IKEMBA, IKEMBA. And just quickly before we go, just to remind everyone, this weekend there, the Black Consciousness Festival will be having a full weekend based on the reparations discussion. We're having discussions based from people in Latin America, the Caribbean, Haiti, North America, all around the world. I will also be a speaker there on Sunday. So if you have the time, you can follow the Black Consciousness Festival on Instagram and on Facebook, and you can tune in more to see more of our...
And also check our Facebook page, IKEMBA, IKEMBA, and you get more information, more updates. So of course, ending this television program, we just want to leave you with a nice little cultural, nice African video, little children doing some dance. Do enjoy.
Over to you.
And I. Yeah. All I get a great baby. Let's hop in my Maserati. Baby, hop in my Maserati. I said hop in my Maserati. Hop in my Maserati. Girl, I wanna see you go down. Yeah. Say me I love the way you bend body. Hop in my Maserati. Baby, hop in my Maserati, and I just wanna see you right. Somebody needs somebody. My body, your body. I'm more check out, follow me. Somebody needs somebody. My body, your body. I'm more check out, follow me. Would somebody tell Shawty what to call me, show me? I'm Mr. Keep it on the 100. Girl, I'm ready if you're ready. Last get it to Yankee for this pandemic. Girl, I get it all on me. I wanna spend it. I feel to be your garment, me. I wanna wear it for real. You know I got it. Take the car keys. For the Maserati, you get nothing. For the Lamborghini, you want it. For the Bentley, you go bend it. Oh, baby, choose what you wanna cruise in. I buy you shoes, probably Jimmy Choo. Yeah. And I like the way I get it out. So baby, up in my Maserati. Baby, up in my Maserati. I say up in my Maserati. Up in my Maserati. Girl, I wanna see you go down. Yeah. Say me I love the way you bend body. Up in my Maserati. Baby, up in my Maserati. And I just wanna see you right. Somebody needs somebody. My body.